So we're just setting up to do the strobe timing on the B25 since I've had both the timing covers off. But before we do the test, we just have to make sure that all the marks are correct. So I'm not sure on the very early B25s, maybe the C25 Barracuda, whether this is in here or not, I don't know. But if it is, you need to take out this plug in the front of the engine here, and there's a hole drilled in the crankshaft, one of the crankshaft flywheels, where you can put a peg and you can find exactly the degrees before top dead center, whatever it is for the B25. I can't remember off the top of my head. So you can buy these off eBay, but I made this. I mean, on this engine it's a 69. All the screws on this are Unified National Fine Ore course. There is a few BSFs are still in here as well, but maybe the early ones were still on BSF and Whitworth, I don't know. But in my case, this is 1/2 inch UNC, so I didn't have a 1/2 inch UNC bolt, but I had a 1/2 inch Whitworth, same pitch, just a different thread angle, and it screws in. You know, we're not holding the rudder on the Titanic, it's just to hold this pointer in place. So just a bolt with a hole drilled in it, a bit of material round bar, and in my case the hole that is drilled in the flywheel is 6mm. So I've turned the end down to 6, so that goes in there and it will pick up on that 6mm hole, which is exactly at the point of where your degrees before top dead center is. So to find it, I've taken the spark plug out, and so I can turn the engine over and feel for compression stroke, because obviously the camshaft only turns at half engine speed, so you've got 2 TDCs in one full rotation of the camshaft, but I want TDC compression stroke. So here we go. So I'm turning the engine over until I can feel compression. You can feel it, hear it blowing out there. So now if I just shine the torch in here, I've also marked the direction of rotation of the engine. So because this is like the back of the timing side would be the front, this would be the back. So we've got a little pointer down there which I've highlighted with a little bit of a Halford's touch up white or whatever, but I've also highlighted the mark on the rotor. So if I bring these to line up with the spanner now, because I know I'm on the right stroke, which is there, that peg should drop in. And the reason you need to check this is, just let me give it a rock, and there we are, we're right in. So I've actually even marked this. There's a notch in there where my full engagement is, so that is right in and bottomed out. And if you look, you can see that timing mark, just let me unplug you a second, you can see that timing mark is spot on. And the reason you need to check that is these Lucas stators, obviously they've got a steel hub with a keyway that goes on the crank, and then you've got the paired 6 sets of magnets which are all cast in like an aluminium lump onto the hub, especially on the singles, because they're more violent on the single explosions. It's like, unlike the twins, they can delaminate, and these things can move around, and the centers become loose, so you need to check it before you start. So I'm very happy that that is exactly right, in accordance with the hole that's drilled in the crankshaft. So it can go a bit further on than this now. Keep carrying on. So I've marked this for the direction of rotation, so when we do strobe it up, if the mark comes before the pointer, it's going to be advanced, and if it goes after the pointer, it's retarded, because that is the direction of rotation. What I've also done is, on the other side, I've also set my stall out here. So in this case, this is the front of the engine, the timing case end if you like, and the engine naturally rotates in a clockwise direction, but because there's no idler gear in between the crankshaft gear and the camshaft gear, the camshaft travels in the opposite direction to the crankshaft. So I've marked that with an arrow there now. So if I move this stator in that direction, I'm going to advance the timing, and if I go that way, it'll retard. So if you do your little marks before you start, it just makes it a bit easier when you get set up. So now I'm just going to set up the timing light ready. So I'm just going to switch you off. We'll be back in a second, and we'll just set our stall out for the timing light itself. Okay, so we set up. So obviously take out your device and put the plug back in and tighten it, because when the engine starts up, the flywheels will just centrifuge oil straight out of there. So you're done with that now. You've done your check. That can go back in. This timing light is probably nearly as old as me. No, nothing's as old as me. Years old. But if you set it up on a tripod, on a stand or whatever, so your hands are free, and mine, I'm very lucky with this one, you pull the trigger once, it switches on a light. You pull the trigger twice, it switches on the induction for the timing for the xenon tube or whatever it is, and pull it again, it switches it off. But if you've got a timing light that you need to pull the trigger and keep it held to check, put a cable tie around the trigger so it's on, so when you start the bike everything's all set up. So because you're going to be running back and to from one side of the bike to the other while you move your stator plate in one direction or the other. So I've also got my teeny little spanner ready to hand here. So I've got one's already slacked off, this one's just slacked a little bit, ready to go, so I can move it very easily and I can run back and to. Then the only final thing that we need to consider is, there's my little, I think it's is it 3BA? Can't see. The BA anyway, if they're the original ones. 4BA if it's the original tower screws. So that's ready to go, and we're all set up on this side. So I'm powered, I've got my inductive sensor on here, and this has to go in the right direction as well. You know, it's got a little arrow on it pointing to which way the spark plug is. In my case, yours might be different. So we're all set up there ready, and I generally do this with all the lights off, because obviously these timing lights, it's not a pure induction one, it is powered, but the Xenon tube technology, going back a long time, was not very good, not very powerful. But we're all set up now, so got to lights off, maybe pull a blind down, and let's see where we are, and let's see if we need to make some adjustments. So be back in a second. Okay, I think we're set up. So I've got my extra bit of silencer on the back to try and keep the noise down a tad. She's on a wooden floor, so she does vibrate a little bit. We'll see how we go. So fuel is on, ignition is on, a tad of choke. Let's see, come on baby. Advanced. Okay, that's as close as we're going to get it. It was a little bit retarded, which is not a bad thing. I mean, it's a massive advance to, I think it's something like 37 degrees or something. So we're probably about 36. So the marks that we made before we stripped it down are pretty damned accurate, and all I've got to do now is put the oil switch back in, because I put the blanking plug back in the casing when we did the leak down test through the one-way valve, the check valve in the in a timing case. So the little girl's not bad. I've had the fuel on for the oil on for the last couple of days. I pulled the drain and I got a couple of drips out, but nothing really. So yeah, not bad. So I think we'll call it a success, because we can. And weather's not too bad this week, so I might take and I've got this, and you've got to get it insured, haven't I? I've insured the T100 and taxed it, the free tax obviously. I'll just see what deal I can get on the insurance with this, and because I'd like to have a few green lane burnouts on it. So anyway, the old girl's looking good, and we'll catch you on the next one, guys. See ya later.